Hello and welcome to today's video, which is going to be a little different to my others since we're going to be playing the worst battleship in the game according to statistics. At the same time, I'll try and explain how I play in it live, and then that can hopefully help you improve your games in it too. So when I was thinking of a video idea, I loaded up WoW's numbers, selected battleships and sorted in order of win rate. And then the results, lo and behold, the ship claiming the worst win rate on the EU server goes to the Japanese tier 9 battleship Izumo. So strap in, get comfy and we'll head straight into battle. Okay, so here we are in our game, and whilst we're sort of waiting for the countdown to go down and get into position, we are going to quickly discuss why. I do think Izumo is a great ship, but we are going to discuss why I believe it has such a low win rate, which will also get us onto the more important factor, which is the guns. So first off, Izumo is the predecessor of Yamato, and that is a ship that's very sought after by a lot of the player base, and therefore a lot of people are just going to want to grind through this and try and get it. Now, with that means there's going to be a lot more inexperienced players trying to get it, and so in that instance, I think that's probably one of the reasons why the win rate is lower than all of the others. Now, the other issue, and probably what is the predominant problem with the ship, is going to be the accuracy. Now, it's actually a very accurate ship. It has a 2.0 Sigma rating, and the shells also have excellent AP penetration, which makes for some very nice shots. The only thing is that good accuracy doesn't come in until much longer ranges, and when you're at short ranges shooting at things, the guns suffer from incredibly high vertical dispersion at close range, which is where I believe a lot of players trip up on. So, with high vertical dispersion, so let's say I'm firing at a ship, say 9 kilometers away from here, they are completely flat broadside, and I'm about to get a bunch of citadels. I fire, and the high vertical dispersion is going to mean that the shells are going to either go too far or too close, and maybe a couple will land that ship, but not really where I aimed it because of that. So that's why a lot of people are going to think, oh, it's just a very inaccurate ship, disregard it, and they just grind through it to get to Yamato and don't give it a second thought. And I think that is the other issue with it. Now, on screen, I'll add a graph when I'm editing this, which is going to show Izumo's vertical dispersion. Like most battleships, this value quickly descends after the 10 to 12 kilometer mark, in which the accuracy really does start to come into play, and you will start hitting more of your long range shots. From my experience, I found the sweet spot to be around 16 to 21 kilometers, where the accuracy just increases further and further, and we are actually going to try and test this out here on this Sovietsky Soyuz. And at those ranges, I can still reliably lead targets while simultaneously getting tight shell grouping, or at least on a vertical level. The further you get, horizontal dispersion does increase, but that's something with every battleship you'll get. Now, I have gone for the reload mod in terms of upgrades because I thought, well, at longer ranges I can't lead as reliably, and plus there's also the fact of I'd rather have guns reloading a lot quicker. Now, unfortunately, these ships are mainly nosing, and I'm actually going to start reversing a little bit here, because that is a very sort of strong push here. Oh, actually, we do have an SAS there as well, so going to be quite careful, but we'll talk about the armour layout shortly. Now, my positioning, I'll explain this positioning in a second, but generally, you want to keep your ships, or at least you want to keep your enemies about 15 kilometers or more away, because then you can benefit, such as that there, you can benefit from really tight dispersion. Now, with positioning, you'll basically want to use your bow, because you have a 32mm bow. This means everything except for Yamato, Musashi and Shikishima, and soon to be incomparable, everything else cannot overmatch that armour, because at that point it's a fact of, okay, well, you can just sit. It's alright, I'm just looking, this is what I mean at this range, and there we go, triple citadel, 40,000 damage, it's absolutely perfect. But that 32mm means that apart from those 3 and in the future 4 ships, they will not be able to overmatch it, and you're basically safe. So the only shells that are going to hurt you are going to be the ones that actually penetrate through the deck, and keep in mind you have a very thick deck as well, especially around the centre of it, and then you've also got the issue of fires, which we did just have quite a few of those, which I have put out because we have 2, and I'm also healing because we had hit the maximum threshold which our repair party could repair at. Now, apart from that, in terms of positioning, it's just the fact you're going to want to mainly just reverse and go forward depending on what targets are where, and also it just allows you to stay a little bit inconsistent against enemies because they won't know exactly where you're going to be. So your only real issue is going to be HE spammers. Now, You'll notice there are some torpedoes, so we've got two of the destroyers, and that is going to be the Kitakaze, because the Jutland was just spotted over at B, so we do have to be kind of careful. And speaking of which, it does appear we are going to take a torpedo. Now, in terms of the... Oh, actually, sorry, I've just seen that is a very, very attractive target there. Oh, we have been flooded, so we can't repair that for quite a while, but we will have a heal shortly. Now, that could be a Citadel. Yep, there we go. 18,000 damage. Again, it is just that vertical dispersion, and oh my lord, could somebody please knock that out? Okay, we've got the Alsace going for them, and we do have also, which... Thank you very much, by the way, for coming in with radar. That is very helpful, so we're going to try and get some shots in now, and maybe a bit of damage in. Now, in terms of the torpedo protection, this... Okay, it's nowhere near as good as Yamato, but it does still have good torpedo protection. So, as a base, you've got 28% damage reduction in terms of torpedoes, and then, because I've gone with Vigilance, that boosts it by about 7%, getting it up to 35%, so that is going to help a lot, and plus you do get to see torpedoes a lot quicker. But as you just saw, even if you can see them, because this is such a lumbering ship, it takes quite a while for it to really respond, so it's more effective when you're actually moving. That Vigilance is going to be more impactful. I mean, Yamato has got a 55% torpedo protection, which is absolutely insane. You can buff that with Vigilance, get it up to 62%, and at that point, if you get, say, a Halland getting an entire salvo of torpedoes on you, it's just going to feel like something has sneezed. And it seems like the Kitakaze is a little bit mad that he got knocked out. I'm actually going to say thank you to this Tulsa and give them a +1, because they really did come in clutch there and saved our life. Now, so that's really the armor scheme spoken about, that's the guns spoken about, and positioning, it's just mainly just point your nose there and then just start going backwards and forwards depending on what's coming towards you, because there've been a few times when I've had an overwhelming number of enemies coming against me, and I'm thinking, oh, this is quite bad, I just need to get back, and because I've been able to hold it off, I've had a stronger flank on, let's say this was where most of our friendlies were, most of the enemies were here. If I can just hold the enemies off on this side, keep doing damage, that is what will help you win quite a few of your games. And that really is it in terms of what I wanted to talk about for the ship. So the rest of this is really going to be playing this game, and I'll try and explain what I'm doing as I'm going along. Now, because we now have the ACAP, and we've got a pretty strong force, so we've got an Alsace, a Tulsa, and that's the Jutland. And the Alsace is running away, and actually I am going to try and drop a shot off. I can imagine they're going to turn away a bit, so I'm going to fire a little bit away in anticipation of that. But because they're at that range, I mean, it's a little harder to lead at that extent, and yet they are turning away as I expected, so maybe we get a hit. Okay, we got a single hit on the rear, so I'm not going to be mad about that. Now, we do have a Sovietsky Soyuz coming around, so hopefully the Ostjylland can get them some... give them a nice salvo of torpedoes, and if not, I can get them in the side. But the problem is, now we are getting quite close, and you might actually see what I mean about the very poor vertical dispersion at this range, and we're going to try and snipe this kill, just because I want to actually have a kill this game, and we're already doing quite well with a 83,000 damage score, but we get a kill as well. Ah, we just missed that. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it was going to be a steal anyway. But because we've got this section of the map covered, I mean, we are in not the... Well, we're in a good position to be in, because we are going to be sort of... Oh, actually, hello. Just noticed a Siegfried over here, but the Soyuz is an issue here, so I'm going to fire at the Siegfried for now. It's just seeing the best time to aim, but you'll notice we are somewhat outnumbered, and the enemies are all coming around this side, so we're in a good position, because it means we can just start holding from here, and then if we need to start pushing forward, we can start pushing forward, and if we need to start retreating backwards, we can do that too. Now I do see we have got a FDG over here. Oh, actually, sorry, I will retract that statement. That is not the most important target. We have a Sovietsky Soyuz, and thankfully their guns are turned all away from us. And I have also just thought of another thing that I do need to explain, but I'll go through that in a second. Now, hopefully you'll see what I mean by awful dispersion, but I bet we're about to get the flattest dispersion possible, and we get 5 penetrations there. But, I mean, in a situation like this, I am not going to complain. Now, one thing I just thought actually that I did need to explain as well, is if you see this third turret here, the firing angles on this are very poor indeed. So to fire them off, you are going to need to show a very healthy amount of cheek here, which means there's a good chance that I'm actually going to lock my turrets in place. When you're actually firing from here, once you can get into business, so let's say you're at this position, you're going to be showing quite a lot of cheek, and at that point, that's where things get a little bit dangerous, because you have then got the possibility of someone getting through that cheek and citadelling you through there. Now we have got to be careful, because I am also trying to explain, but I am realising we are in a bit of a worrying situation here, because we don't actually have the advantage on points or ships by a very wide margin, and we probably have a Jutland coming in as well, which could be proving to be a bit problematic. We do need to get rid of that DD, because they are going to be probably the bane of the rest of this game. So what I'm going to start doing now, because I can imagine if it is the Jutland that's spotting me, they're going to possibly be launching torpedoes, and oh, hello there, that is a Siegfried. We'll try and curve some shots over, and they do have very nice guns. This could hurt, yeah, so there we go. I mean, ooh, 4 penetrations there, that's a decent amount of damage, and actually, since we do need to start confirming kills, if I can push forward and spot this FDG, I'm going to try and do that, because that means that's 1 gun out of the game, or at least 1 ship out of the game, and you always want to eliminate as many problems as you can, and this FDG is going to be a big one if they stay alive. Now, I'm going to confirm the kill there. I mean, looks like I didn't need to fire as much as I did, but I do not mind that in the slightest, because we have now taken them out. We do have a Georgia coming on our side, so I'm going to sort of aim my ship both ways, and oh lord, that is a scary sight. Because we've got an Alsace on the left, we do also have a Siegfried, which could really hurt us, and we have a Georgia, so I'm going to get in this position where hopefully all shells will sort of bounce off us. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if this game is going to be a win or not. It is looking rather bleak, but we will try and make the best of a bad situation. And I do see the Alsace there, but there's not too much I can really do, because I'm holding my shot off, because there is still the possibility of the Jutland coming around, but they do appear to be turning away. Now, if that Georgia can just hold off a second, it doesn't look like they're going to. That's fine. I'm going to actually push around, and ooh, that was quite a nice shot on the Alsace there, and unfortunately we only got a ricochet on the Georgia. Now, torpedoes coming in. Thankfully, the Pommern does have a Hydra. I'm assuming they've just popped that, so that is very helpful. And I'm hoping the Pommern secondaries can knock out the Jutland, because Pommern secondaries are really, really nice. I do quite like it. If you've not got Pommern, I would recommend playing it if you like sort of brawling and secondary ships, because it is a wonderful vessel. Now I'm actually going to start turning away whilst that Georgia is behind that island, because we are covered from the side, and that does give me a chance to then get my bow turned towards the Alsace as well as the Siegfried, and hopefully we can start knocking out targets. Now in terms of points, we are pretty equal at the moment, so that is very good for us at the moment, because it means we're not in any real rush to sort of make an aggressive play. Okay, well, I take that back. It does seem like the Alaska has just knocked out, okay, yep, our Alsace, which is very bad, but let's see if we can try and get some shots on the enemy Alsace. And I'm also wondering where the Siegfried is, and ooh, that's going to be the Jutland, isn't it, just around that corner. Now we only got one shot onto the Alsace. I'm going to continue pushing forward, and the one issue is the rear of this ship actually is very vulnerable. So that could be a problem, and I've just noticed we are also out of repair parties, so the HP we've got now is what we are stuck with. And that's poor timing. That is very poor timing, because that salvo I just chucked at the Georgia, granted it may have done a nice amount of damage, we are now going to take a lot of damage from this Alaska, and we are not going to be able to finish them off. So good job to that Pommern. They did knock out the Georgia, and we are going to try and get a shot here. This Alaska's going to hurt us again. Oh wow, okay, fair enough. We did manage to get 3 hits, but we do have an Azuma coming around this corner, and I can imagine they are going to drop torpedoes, and at this point there isn't too much I can really do. As I say, I'm just trying to make the best of a bad situation now. I'm going to target that Siegfried, see if the Pommern can maybe get a shot off. There we go, here is the Azuma. They are going to be getting torpedoes. Maybe we can... okay, yep. Yeah, that's about what I was expecting to happen, really. There were too many ships from too many angles, and at that point it was just a loss. Now, I mean, 150,000 damage, I'm quite happy with that. I mean, I can't believe I didn't kill that Alaska. That really is quite a shame there, but At the same time, that is okay, because it does still prove how you really play in the ship. Now, if I had knocked out that Alaska, that could have been better, because then I wouldn't have needed to this Alaska's dead. It would have been nice to see how much the enemy Alaska had, but I guess we'll never know. But that does really bring it to the end of the game. However, although that was a loss, I do hope what I have explained and also what I've shown you in game does help you in some way. If you were hoping to improve in Izumo, or just you hadn't even played in it and thought, okay, this actually looks like it could be a fun ship, I do hope that has helped in some way. And oh well, we didn't actually come first place there, so I'm going to compliment the Jean Bart, but either way, I do hope this has helped you in some way to learn how to play the ship or how to improve, and if there are any ships you want me to cover in future, then let me know down in the comments below. But with all that said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.